first selection in the forward line this year goes to Danielfield at Geelong Football Club. Daniel played a lot of forward minutes last year, which sees him gain forward eligibility for our sides again this year. He is a proven premium scorer with an incredibly high ceiling. I have no doubt that he will finish the season as one of the highest scoring forward options in Supercoach this year. Word around the league is that he suffered a groin injury, which has prevented him from completing a full preseason. However, it looks like he has recently started to amp up his running, with the Cats fully confident that he'll be ready to face the Crows in round 1. He had scores of 170, 162, and 2 scores in the 140s last year. I think you could potentially pick him up later in the year for a cheaper price, but you do run the risk of missing out on some big scores early on in the season. A selection that could go either way this year, Dunkley is the second selection in the forward line. 2020 saw Dunkley play in the midfield, the forward line, and quite amazingly even pinch hit in the ruck. We all thought that 2021 would see Dunkley in a new team, where he could cement himself a midfield spot. However, he ended up staying with the Dogs even after the acquisition of Treloar from Collingwood. You would think that coach Luke Beveridge may have given him some assurances that he would get some more midfield time, with the possibility of Bontempelli playing a more forward role like Danielfield and Martin. Dunkley finished the year averaging 111.2 points over his last 5 games, which is a promising sign given his mixed role. I would really like to monitor his centre bounce attendances in the preseason games before confirming his selection this year. Perhaps my most riskiest pick in my whole Supercoach side, the last premium spot and F3 is Isaac Heeney. Injuries have been a massive issue for Heeney in his career, but when he does play and he plays in the middle, he's an absolute star of the competition. He suffered a season-ending ankle injury last year, which required him to get surgery. At the time of making this video, there is news that he has increased his running load and is doing a lot of agility training to help strengthen his ankle. He hasn't yet started full contact training, which will be the real test for him, I believe. He is set on getting some playing time in the preseason games, while he targets a full return in round 1. I honestly see him playing a more forward role again this year, which stints up the ground, which isn't really ideal. At this stage, I don't see any other player at this price that I like other than Heeney, so he will hold his spot for now at this stage of the preseason. The veteran West Coast Eagles tagger, Mark Hutchins, comes into the year at a bargain price of $157k. The 29-year-old has previously averaged 89.9 points in his first year back in 2013, however his career average has seen a slow decline every year since then. Hutchins should get some games early on in the season, and he should be able to average around the 60 mark if he stays injury-free. Primarily chosen as a cash cow who can earn you some nice coin early on in the season. A promising player whose injuries have prevented him from a senior debut, Nathan Kruger has his sights set on playing his first game this year. The Cats now have an abundance of tall forwards options, especially with Jeremy Cameron coming into the lineup. Kruger has really been talked up this preseason by the coaching staff, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a couple of games if a forward goes down with injury this year. A small forward who has been playing in the SANFL over the past 3 seasons, James Earl looks all but ready for a senior debut this year. He will be a nice cash cow for you this year with the occasional big score. He averaged 15 touches and nearly 3 goals per game in the SANFL last year. He should get plenty of opportunity in a rebuilding Adelaide side. Rounding off the bench was James Worrell and Josh Durden. Both are holding spots until we have more of an idea of which rookies will be likely to debut for round 1. Durden averaged nearly 10 touches and a goal in the SANFL last year and could potentially float in and out of the Carlton side this year. I have selected Danielfield, Dunkley and Heeney with the intention to hold them all season. Danielfield and Heeney are both coming off interrupted preseason, so I will monitor how they are tracking before locking them into my round 1 side. Heeney is more likely to make way in my side than Danielfield is though, with his history of missing games and being left in the forward line. There aren't many mid-price options that excite me in the forward line this year. Joe Danaher and Jack Zeebo present some interesting options around the 250k mark, but I will wait to see how they go in preseason games before putting them into my side.